Hey Falcons, President Mike Davis here. We're here for our May update, and we're with Vice President for Enrollment Management, George Wolf.
Well, I'm George Wolf. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management here at Fairmont State. Really excited to be here and talking to Dr. Davis.
So George, you've been here about almost 2 years now, but it's certainly not your first foray into enrollment management. You've been doing this for a while.
Yep.
What was it about Fairmont State that attracted you to come and help us enroll and keep students here?
I think when I visited Fairmont State, it struck me right away that this Fairmont had so much to offer students, and it was sort of interesting walking on campus. My background was a lot at a private, smaller institution, and I got that same feeling when I got on Fairmont's campus. And then as I started talking to the people on campus, it just reinforced that.
It's that same feeling, but with a much more affordable price.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the other thing that was so important is higher education is viewed to be so expensive, but it really isn't at a Fairmont State. And all the different things, aid that we have available, scholarships and grants, but just the sticker price is so affordable for so many students.
I think it's something a lot of people don't realize is how much support we get from the state too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what's great. Fairmont State gets so much from the state of West Virginia. And of course, we have a lot of students from the state of West Virginia, but gaining more students from regionally all the time.
So in about a week, we've got commencement coming up. You get to sit up on the stage. You get to watch all those students walk across stage. Talk about why commencements are meaningful for a university campus.
Oh, well, it's what we're all about. It's seeing those students achieve what they came here to achieve. Personally, I've always excited after my first 4 years because that's the first class that I see come through the door and leave. Not that I like that they leave because I have to replace them, but it's very satisfying to see those students excited, the families excited. So many students that come from first generation families where it's not just mom and dad, it's the grandparents, it's the kids, it's everybody, and it's exciting time.
Somebody just said to me, "Are you excited for the end of the semester?" I said, "No," because then they all leave. Think about your own commencement. Think back to those days. Mm-hmm. What did you feel on that day? How does that carry you through while you're doing this job now?
Yeah, it's thinking back to those days, it's a combination of excitement and a little bit of what comes next. And it all always works out. I mean, it so happened that at that time, getting ready to graduate, I was working as a bartender and waiter. Had a provost from the institution I was at come in to eat and was talking to me and said, "We have an admissions job open. Where you'd be interested?" Sure. And that's what started my career in college admissions. It was a provost who just thought you'd be a good fit. And there it goes. But it's a lot of, anticipation, but it's also makes you a little nervous because it's a new part of your life.
One of the things, we're talking about commencements, but one of the things I think struggle with at universities nationwide is we have a lot of students who stop out, a lot of students who don't finish. That's especially true in the state of West Virginia. Why does that happen? Why do these students not finish?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of reasons. I think sometimes it's resources. The money gets a little too expensive. Sometimes it's students that just aren't ready, and they find that out pretty quickly. Other things that just come up, just life comes up, and it's so nice when you see some of those students come back. We constantly work to get them back because, again, the return for us is when you see a student walk across that stage.
Yeah. One of the things I say a lot is, one of the things we really have to pay attention to is helping these students finish. Mm-hmm. Because if they come here and they pay tuition or accumulate debt and they don't get a degree, we're not doing our jobs.
Absolutely.
So we're launching a program this summer called the Welcome Home Program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Welcome Home Program is really exciting because it's an opportunity for former students who have been out for over 7 years or longer, to come back and finish up. In so many of those cases, they might have been in their last year with just minimal number of hours left. And we want to help them finish that. Well, where they can get some life credits, because a lot of them are working adults at this point. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited. It's a program that we're going to support financially as an institution because we really want to see those students with a degree, with a Fairmont State degree.
Absolutely. So you talked about working adults. My guess is a lot of people are nervous that, well, I have a full-time job, or I have a family, or I have both. How am I possibly going to make this work if I come back?
Yeah, and then we're going to try to make that as easy as possible. We're going to look at that. We offer a lot of courses online to help those students finish up that degree. I think our job is to make it doable for them, and we will. There's no doubt, whether it's financially doable or also academically doable, so they're not we're not taking them out of what they do right now.
So students may actually be closer, former students could actually be closer to finishing than they might even realize.
Absolutely. We will look at your life credit. We'll look at everything that we can look at to get you through as quickly as we can.
And I think for a lot of our students, they probably were here when the programs might have been a little more rigid. We have things like our Regents Bachelor's degree and things like that that might help these students finish more quickly than if they'd gone through their traditional program.
Absolutely, and our goal is to make this as affordable as possible. So we're gonna give you some opportunities with financial aid, and we're gonna make this quick.
What costs will they have to worry about?
We have some scholarships built on the intake and as well as the outtake. So we're gonna give them some money to help out to finish up. There won't be huge costs involved for them, very minimal actually.
And we have some students, the students who have less than a semester left to go, will basically pay some student fees, but
That's it.
for the most part, will come back tuition free.
It'll be tuition free pretty much for them especially if they're within their last year. A lot of this information is on our website, or you can talk to the admissions officers. They will be aware of this as well. But this is a great opportunity for anybody who's been out for seven years or more. That we're pretty close to their degree.
And I imagine, I keep thinking about the feeling of us going back to commencement, being at commencement and watching someone walk across the stage who may have left us 20 years ago, who we reached back out to them and said, "You're still a Falcon. Let's make sure you help get that degree."
Absolutely. Some of my greatest memories are seeing people do exactly that, and they might be 40 years old or older and walk across that stage. They're so proud.
That's excellent. Awesome. So talk a little bit more about some of the pieces you've done to help retain students and to make college accessible for all West Virginians.
I think to retain students, one of the things that we're doing at Fairmont State is that we're looking at every student as an individual and helping them with wherever they're at. So looking at their finances, working with them. Our student success folks are really dealing with each individual for whatever that obstacle may be. And the key is to help students get across those obstacles. Our academic affairs advisors are helping them manage them through their academic programs. They are making sure they're in the right academic program too. Sometimes you come in as a student and you've had a lot of people tell you what you should do.
Right.
Then you find out what you really need to do and what you want to do. So those are the kind of things that we're doing. We work with prior balances to help them find the aid that's available. There's a lot more financial support out there than people realize sometimes.
And you've been primarily at smaller institutions.
Yes.
So one of the things you said there really struck me is you treat everybody as an individual. Mm-hmm. Some of the really big places, they can't do that, right? No. They have to say, here's the rule and here's what we're going to do. Sorry, we can't help you. Mm-hmm. Talk about how you've approached it since you've come here and some of the conversations you've had with your team to make sure they understand that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. And it goes right back to what attracted me, because we are so much like a smaller place, a more personalized place. So I've talked to my team to say, look, there's not a problem we can't solve. Yeah. As you said, at the larger universities, at the larger flagships, they just simply can't do it where we can. And, whether it's our admissions team or our financial aid team or our student success team, we're working individually with students, their parents, their families. We've worked with grandparents to solve problems, getting to know again, it's trying to find out and building an interpersonal relationship at every level.
Yeah. Well, because, it's fantastic for our students, but it also makes sense just as a business model.
Absolutely.
Right. Once you get a student here, it's much easier to get them here, keep them here,
Yeah.
than it is to continually attract new students.
Higher education is a competitive business, and so when you're trying to bring students to look at you and know who you are and choose you over the 10 other schools they might be looking at, it's a tough job. Once you get them here, it's like a repeat customer. You don't want to lose that person. So every year you're keeping them, you're working with them. You want them to become bonded with the university, get involved at the university, whether it's through athletics, clubs, on campus, in your residence halls. Get to know other people on campus. We love when students are working in our offices, because that's another group that they get to know and can help them and learn outside the classroom. They're learning so much inside, but there's so much to learn outside.
So I'm going to let you put your recruiter hat back on. So think about talking to our audience and tell them why they should choose Fairmont State for their college education.
Fairmont State is a great place to be, and let me explain why. First of all, it has all the benefits of a state university: affordability, accessibility, opportunity, but it also has the personalization of a private. So you're not a number, you're a person. I know students that'll walk into your office
Absolutely. All the time.
and talk to you about not anything wrong. They don't just come to the president for a bad reason. They just come in to say hello. That's the difference between a Fairmont State and a larger flagship university. So when we talk about that, you're going to have a lot more opportunities here to do all kinds of things, build that portfolio, get a great education, and not go into debt while you're doing it.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us, George.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll see you next month.